For decades, we've been asking the biggest question in dieting, and we've been getting the answer completely wrong. We were told to cut the fat if you want to lose weight. But what if the real culprit has been hiding in plain sight this whole time? Let's finally settle this debate. Remember that? The whole low-fat everything craze? Low-fat yogurt, low-fat snacks. We were absolutely convinced that fat was the enemy. But that entire way of thinking was built on a huge misunderstanding of how our bodies actually work. So first things first, let's put the main suspect on trial, dietary fat. For years, it's been painted as this supervillain. But the truth? Oh, it's way more complicated than that. And here's where it gets tricky right from the start. See, on paper, fat looks like the obvious problem. It's got 9 calories per gram, which is more than double the 4 calories you get from sugar. So common sense would say, just cut the fat and you'll lose weight. Simple, right? Well, not exactly. This is the question that just blows that whole simple calories in, calories out idea right out of the water. I mean, if it were all about calories, the case would be closed. But our bodies are so much more complex than a simple calculator. And here's why fat isn't the villain we thought it was. Our bodies don't just burn it for fuel. They actually use it for really critical jobs. Fat is absolutely essential for making hormones, for your brain to function properly, and for absorbing key vitamins. That's why people on those extreme low-fat diets often feel so grumpy and can't focus. It's not just food, it's a nutrient we have to have. And this, right here, perfectly illustrates the real issue. It's not about fat itself. It's about the type of fat. On one side, you've got these amazing, healthy fats from whole foods. Think avocados, nuts, and fish. And on the other side, you've got the unhealthy fats from fried foods and all those industrial baked goods. That distinction, well, it's everything. Okay, so now let's turn our attention to this second suspect, sugar. It's got fewer calories, it tastes amazing, but it's hiding this deceptive biological secret that's really at the heart of this whole debate. And there it is. This is the absolute core of the problem. Your body has a very specific reaction when it gets a sudden rush of sugar. And that reaction is to hit the panic button and go into emergency storage mode by converting that sugar directly into body fat. Let me walk you through it. When you eat simple sugar, especially without any other food, it just slams into your bloodstream almost instantly. Your body kind of freaks out at this sudden spike and releases this huge wave of a hormone called insulin. Now, insulin's main job is to get that sugar out of your blood, and its favorite solution is to basically shout at your cells to store it as fat. And just like with fat, the type of sugar makes all the difference. Complex carbs, the good stuff from lentils and whole grains, they have fiber. And that fiber slows everything down, preventing that disastrous insulin spike. But simple sugars from things like soda and candy, they're basically a non-stop, direct-to-fat delivery system. So the evidence is pretty clear. The real battle here isn't about picking one nutrient and just eliminating it forever. It's about shifting our entire focus away from quantity and onto quality. So here's your simple, actionable game plan. Think of it as a 4-point strategy. You want to favor good fats and good sugars from whole foods, and at the same time, eliminate or at least drastically reduce the bad fats and simple sugars from processed junk. Honestly, that's the foundation of everything. And look, a great way to make this actually stick is to use the 80-20 principle. If 80% of what you eat is made up of simple, whole foods, like the ones we've been talking about, you can leave that other 20% for other foods without completely derailing all your progress. It's all about balance, not about being perfect. But there is one category of food that's so uniquely damaging, it really deserves its own special warning. It's, without a doubt, the single biggest trap in the entire modern diet. So what do you think it is? What's that one thing that can sabotage your diet faster than pretty much anything else? Go on, take a guess. It's not a classic fatty food like butter, and it's not a classic carby food like bread either. The number one culprit is sugar drinks. We're talking sodas, industrial fruit juices, sweetened teas. This is public enemy number one when it comes to managing your weight. And here's exactly why. The World Health Organization recommends that we get at most 25 grams of added sugar a day. A single can of soda can have up to 90 grams. That's more than 3 times your entire daily limit, all in one drink. And here's what makes them so uniquely terrible. First, there's no chewing, so your digestive system doesn't even get a heads up that something's coming. Second, there's zero fiber.
That liquid sugar just hits your system instantly, causing the most aggressive insulin spike possible, which, as we know, translates directly into fat storage.
Okay, so we've identified the main suspect, but let's zoom out a little bit and talk about the single most important lesson from this entire debate. Because the true villain, it isn't just fat and it isn't just sugar. It's the industrial combination of the worst kinds of fats and the worst kinds of sugars, all packed together in ultra-processed foods. This creates what scientists call a hyper-palatable mix. Basically, foods that are engineered to be so addictive that they completely bypass our body's natural signals that tell us when we're full. And that is the final takeaway. If we've learned one thing today, it's that health isn't some simple choice between two different nutrients. It's a much bigger and honestly a much more empowering choice. The choice to prioritize the quality of your food and overall balance instead of just blindly restricting one thing or another. So now I'm curious. Knowing all this, what's the first small change you think you'll make? Maybe you'll swap a soda for water or add some avocado to your breakfast. Share your first step in the comments below. And for more explainers that cut through the noise on really complex topics, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell. Thanks for watching.